Yeah, that's exactly what I think too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know. I'm so glad that I got all of that out, because it was so hard to articulate.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of thing I ever want to have to explain again.
Yeah. I'm
so
glad
it's
we got
good.
it on the live stream.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I feel
Hi, everybody.
so much better.
Greetings and salutations.
Hey everybody, welcome to the RetroBlasting live stream. We do this every other Saturday. As you know, my name is Michael. Some of you probably know me from the RetroBlasting YouTube channel. Some of you have probably gotten in fights with me even. To my immediate right...
If you watch, then you argue with Michael.
To your left, our immediate right, is surprise special guest. You've probably heard me talk about him before. This is Jody, all the way from the Netherlands. Say hi.
Greetings and salutations.
And he is the guy that's been like constantly sending amazing donations to the channel. And he was here on business and he said, can I stop by the studio? And I said, yeah. So he's with us to talk about our topic today, which is Japanese animated television shows that were then adapted for other markets in the 80s. And then to Jody's right, your left.
Oh, hi. You know who I am. I'm Melinda.
Please let us know if the mic levels are good because we've all switched up mics today for this. And then to Melinda's right, your left.
I am Aaron Harper.
That's funny somehow.
Well, I thought we would kick this off with one that Jody actually brought to the studio today. So
Kit Kats.
He did. He also brought Kit Kats
From the Netherlands. I'm super
What are
excited.
ruby cocoa beans?
Yeah, that's apparently a new thing where they actually find a new cocoa beans, which is red, hence the chocolate.
So this
pink.
is not even like a scientifically constructed
Nope,
thing. They actually
not
found a
true.
new type of cocoa bean.
Yep.
Okay.
That's just to make Kit
That's
Kats
news
with.
to me. I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen in 2020.
I don't know if you can remember, but the live stream after you guys got back from UK, you had to convince Aaron that UK Kit Kats are better than US Kit Kats.
I brought them home and shared them with the kids. They were like, tastes like Kit Kats. then they were like, but different. But I ended up enjoying the rest of those. They were.
So now we have some Dutch ones.
See,
Looking forward to it.
I've had the green tea ones. I've had the ones from Japan.
Why
They have a lot
green
of different.
tea?
Dude,
They
whoa!
have so
Oh,
many
I guess I need
different
to turn the
tastes.
sound off on my.
That'd be great.
I was like, what is happening right now?
the laptop thought you were hilarious.
Is everything okay with the stream? I see a ninja guy over there.
Yeah, he's about to attack us, but I think we
I
should
popped
be
the
all
chat
right.
out.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Stop looking at technology. like
Sorry, that's why I don't look at the chat because I get confused and then I get rattled and
Man,
Well, that ain't very hard to confuse.
that's true. That's true.
that. Welcome to the live stream.
so thank you, Salvador, very much for the very kind super chat. Sal says, tossing in some toy fund money, your customs are coming together, and R.I.P. Alan Harris.
Yeah. I saw the news about that. That sucks. Yeah. So I thought we would kick off the discussion with the one that Jody brought in today to the studio. It's over here on the far
That's
right, my left. It's right by
it's
Voltron
right in front
here.
of you.
It's called Macron 1.
At this point in the live stream, we're going to stop using directions.
Okay.
In front of me will suffice.
So this is Macron 1. Jody, walk us through this one a little bit.
Yeah, so this is actually, it's another one of those Japanese conversions. The Japanese is, I believe, called Shogogen.
Shogogen?
The one I know, and I've seen during my childhood, even in the Netherlands, it was called Macron 1. I don't know quite the story anymore, but they had like this huge airship. And the main feature about this, there's 3 different pilots. Each pilot has a unique fighter. The fighter themselves, the 3 fighters, combine into a robot. But they also have the guy you see on the case, the big one, that launches and it opens up in the chest and the 2 legs. And the small fighters actually pop into this one, so they can fight even bigger monsters.
Okay. Wow. Okay, yeah. So it says right here on the back, it says, the year is 2525, when man was still alive. A teleportation experiment goes haywire and rockets Major David Chance into an alternate universe. The resulting vacuum sucks the evil Dark Star and half his forces into our universe. Now the sinister armies of Grip, all caps, want control of both universes. The good forces in each world must team up to battle the tyrannical legions. Together they form Macron 1, united to fight for the future. Did anyone in the chat? Did any of you guys actually see this in an adaptation growing up?
It
I
says,
didn't.
hello from Scotland. Macron 1 episode in the fun fair was absolute nightmare fuel. So apparently Scotland saw this
Okay.
show.
Okay, so maybe this was more heavily distributed in European markets at the time.
On the back.
Someone is asking why Transformers is not on the table.
Well,
numerous times.
I can
so-
bring Transformers onto the table. That's no problem. It's just that Transformers Diaclone, from what I recall, did not have an animated component. But sure. Hey, look. You know what? You got some energon to my head. I'll get it. It's fine. Which one should we grab?
Tim
for
Hayes
the
wants to know what you're
representative?
drinking, Jody.
It's just a Monster. Low sugar one, and non-sugar one.
Just
Shockwave.
grab one.
Shockwave. All right.
I was looking at the back of that box and I saw the sort
Actually,
of.
Shockwave is not a Diaclone, so that doesn't fit one.
Do you want Shockwave then? The gray one?
It's not a Diaclone.
I know.
It's a different. Perceptor is definitely one.
Perceptor? All right, we'll bring up Perceptor.
It's actually Microman.
Wilson
Spectrum.
Tortosa
Yeah.
says Macron 1 was also shown here in Southeast Asia. Cool. Oh yeah, Voltes 5 was a good one. Yeah, that one where the people are just running around going, "Father! Father!" over and over. I learned the Japanese word for father, although I've subsequently forgotten it because that's all they say running around in that show.
Yep, Voltes 5. Yep. I don't recall seeing that as a kid, but I remember
No,
us
but we
watching it.
watched it like
Yeah.
a few years back.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we've talked a lot about. Oh, are there any questions?
There was one. I'm trying to find it again.
Oh, wow. Super chat.
Yamato.
It
21.99.
says something about. Just keep talking. I'm sorry, I can't find it quickly.
Did we already mention that super chat?
Genshi Fox 2. Thank you very much for the super chat. Yamato 21.99 is probably the greatest anime remake of all time. Mm-hmm. This is what he says.
Yeah, I've been watching it. It's excellent. I need to get the new set that I've heard has come out officially for the U.S. market because these are the imports that I was getting from Japan, and they're very expensive, disc per disc.
Dill K says he wants more Aaron hand motions. That's why Aaron is flailing around over here.
It's an Aaron thing.
Yeah. Now everybody knows
He's
this.
already realized that. That's amazing.
Everybody, of course, probably knows the story about Beast King Go Lion. That was a 1981 Japanese series that was part of the Super Sentai genre, and it became Voltron. They adapted it fairly heavily and turned it into Voltron. And we've talked a lot about that extensively on the channel in a number of retrospectives. And then we come to Star Musketeer Bismarck, which became Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. Yeah. Now, I have not yet really dug into this series. I've been meaning to do a retrospective on it. But the reason I've held off so long is because there were no toys here in the United States. And the toys from Popey Bandai are like super, super expensive. The one that I have here, which is considered the budget Donatello, because there was the deluxe versions and then there were the budget versions, he was still $200. I mean, just getting him a few years ago, he was still very expensive. So the deluxe ones, which are very hard to get outside of Japan, and even though they're 40 years old now, that's what's kept me from talking about the show. But I will read the back of the Saber Rider DVD package for you.
Wait,
Thank you,
Michael, wait.
Yeah.
Christopher Ward says, have you seen the old die-cast Yamato Star Blazers ships? I was able to grab a Yamato Argo.
Really?
That's what he says.
I have not seen those, Christopher. Thank you for the heads up. I'll definitely
And thank you
check
for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely check those out. Have you heard about those, Jody? Okay. All right, so it says here, from the creators of Voltron comes Saber Rider and the Star Sheriff. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs is a 1980s animated space western following the theme of Galaxy Rangers and Brave Star. This is an interesting way to describe their product. Originally a 1984 Japanese anime series known as Star Musketeer Bismarck, created by Studio Pierrot. This series is set in the future, where Saber Rider is the leader of the Star Sheriffs. The Star Sheriffs are the special operatives of Cavalry Command. Their main assignment is to protect the galaxy from the growing threat of the Outriders. Due to the escalating menace of the Outriders, the Cavalry Command is forced to create.
Doesn't this make it sound really boring?
No, it's about to get really interesting. The Cavalry Command is forced to create Ramrod. voiced by Peter Cullen, who
That's a
voiced
good name.
Optimus Prime. Designed and
You know,
constructed.
Peter Cullen was like, I'm only doing it if I get to be that Ramrod character. It's the only way I'm doing it.
So, designed and constructed by Commander Eagle and his daughter April. Ramrod can transform
Eagle
from
sound like
an
you need to have a
airborne
cooler
battleship
daughter
into a
name?
giant robot.
Commander Eagle.
When
and
Ramrod undergoes
Samantha.
the challenge phase transformation, it calls out its rallying cry in a heavy Western drawl: "Head 'em up, move 'em out. Power, stride, and ready to ride." All right, so I'd like to just ride right on past that. The collection consists of all 52 episodes, blah, blah, blah.
You know, I have heard that, in Japan, there is some interest in American Western culture.
Right.
So it does kind of make sense to me that there would be a themed show from there that actually kind of was more cowboy in nature.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just kind of a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, one of the characters in the
Phenomenon.
Japanese original,
Phenomenon.
one of the characters in the All right, I'm just gonna let them do their thing.
Hey, Fade to Black 73, my favorite screen name, says, I watch Transor Z every day after school on a very low power syndicated TV channel every day after school. I assumed that it was originally a Japanese show. Does anyone else remember this show? And I know we do remember Transor Z because we've talked
Yeah,
about it.
Transor Z is actually up here. Right in front of Melinda is Mazinger Z. Mazinger Z is what Transor Z was adapted
No, it's My
from.
Zinger Z.
It's Mazinger Z.
No, it's Ma Zinger Z.
Bingo.
We get it. It's your zinger zing.
Keith is cracking me up. He said Ramrod and Fisto, the Chronicles.
Ramrod and Fisto, the Chronicles. Thank you, Wesley, for the super chat. Wesley says, outside of Voltron, is there a property you'd like to see a new American version created? Do we need any more American versions of anything?
As long as it's not in the style of
Thundercats. Or Kit Kat. American Kit Kats. Not good.
I'm trying to think of a series that might be worth bringing over.
I would like to see good translations of existing series.
Yes.
Not
Oh, yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
the reformatting of it into a.
I just
Right.
need
version.
subtitles, honestly.
I would love to see a full English translated subtitled version of Lightspeed Electroid Albegus, because that was the intended Voltron
Yeah.
2. And there's no way unless, you know what, maybe it's just the universe telling me you should really devote yourself to learning Japanese, Michael. This is a
I
a
literally
cosmic
tried
challenge.
back when we started watching
Yeah.
like some of the older, like Voltes 5 around that time. I literally took a Japanese class and it's super hard.
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
No,
But-
can't.
but-
It's super hard.
I mean, but yeah, I would love to see Albegus adapted or translated. Yeah.
What's your thought? Because you read this out, and apparently when he transforms, he shouts out. I've noticed that's a real Japanese thing. What's your thought on that?
Oh, you
'Cause
mean
it annoys the crap out of me.
Oh, when a robot like yeah.
"Ooh, head on,
Oh yeah, like
cross head on.
or yeah, or like when he's like
Yeah.
joking, whatever. Yeah, it's a Japanese trope. It's funny too because when they adapted Golion, they took all of that out. I mean, they just have Voltron as like a robot. He's a utilitarian thing that just he does the transformation. He pulls out the sword. There's a mechanical sound and a magical sound, but there's no joking. Yeah.
But isn't it like the thing in Dune where it's almost like them calling it out makes it as part of making it happen?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's like it's
hey,
like
I made a reference to Dune.
You did. That was cool.
Thanks.
Japanese super robots speak their truth. They know how to
They scream their truth.
Yeah, their word of power, whatever it is.
Well, it's like in martial arts, you
Yeah.
have to expel that force, that
Right.
ki or whatever.
And that was something that I think He-Man
That's
understood really
Probably
well.
the best explanation of why that's happening.
And
Thank
Lion-O
you.
understood it really well. Lion-O had his...
But why do they do it in space where no one can hear you scream?
Good point.
Knights of Ren said Optimus yelled, Autobots roll out.
That's true. That's
out.
true. He did say roll out.
But that's more a catchphrase. That's not like you're doing a special technique and calling out your technique.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He didn't yell, I'm transforming, or something like that.
Turn into something different.
Truck you!
Yeah, wow. Wow.
Does anyone remember Vicky the Viking, a German-Japanese co-production from 1974?
Yes, I do. That's one of my childhoods.
Ooh, describe.
It's a kid's cartoon, a real young kid's cartoon. It's about a little kid Viking, and
That sounds awesome. Like
it
Asterix?
is actually pretty fun. No, that's different. It's more mature.
Oh, okay.
It's just he's a really young kid, but he's like the smart one of the Vikings. And he
Okay.
just gets into trouble and gets into stuff.
Okay, what about Sport Billy? Do you remember that? Because that was a German thing. I don't know if it went throughout the
I
rest of.
know the name. I might have seen it, but I can't recollect them anymore.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I'm looking it up so that maybe he has a memory jog. But in the meantime, we can answer some questions.
Mighty Orbots had the Orbots unite. I guess that they yelled.
Yes, Mighty Orbots, though, that's a weird situation where you have a brand new cartoon that's designed around the aesthetic of God Mars, but the God Mars animated series, which was in existence, was not utilized at all. So it's this thinly veiled, like, it's animated by a Japanese animation house, but not for the Japanese market. It falls into a weird gray area. This is Sport Billy.
So Sport Billy was a show that was a Filmation German co-production.
And you can tell.
And for some weird reason in my market in the South, they played that show a lot. And so every morning before school, I would watch Sport Billy, which is totally not even something that I would normally be into because it's all about sports. But like I loved that show as a kid. I think it was probably the
Maybe-
German feel to it. Like it was just a little different.
I was going to say, and this is something that it's regional. You may not know unless you lived in the South where we grew up, but there was a large NASA presence and a large Project Paperclip German scientist presence. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was like grandchildren and such from those families, and they brought some German stuff over.
Interesting.
Just
Yeah,
to support
I don't
that.
know, but I had a Sport Billy lunchbox. Like I was super into it.
That is super
like
cool.
it's very, but it feels very German when you watch it now. It's very little kid. Like it's a little
it
kid
is.
cartoon.
And it's about sports.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
That's why I don't.
Oh, one of your
Yeah,
favorite
exactly.
things.
right, but it's
Whatever.
just I don't know. I just really liked it because he's like in outer space and he has a dog and it's I don't know.
Space sports.
Yeah, space sports. He solves problems using sports. That's his superpower. How bizarre is that?
Didn't he have like a magical bag?
He had a magical bag that he had every kind of sports equipment that he could pull out of it. So like, and then he would be on this planet and they'd be having a conflict and then, I know, let's play soccer and solve the problem. And then they would, and then everybody was happy. It was
So he's
great.
like the Mary Poppins of sports.
Yeah, it's
he has
really
like the
kind
bottomless
of-
bag.
Well, sports is kind of a surrogate for war.
Yeah,
It's an
exactly.
interesting concept.
It's
How esoteric did the sports get? Like, was there a luge episode?
I don't remember enough detail. I'd have to go back and watch it, but it's
We can only solve this problem by luge.
they had
We will
some
decide
weird
who has the
sports.
oar rights by playing cribbage.
I seem to remember that there was cricket because it wasn't
That would
just
take
like
forever. Did they have space tea
and crumpets
and crumpets?
and scones. Anyway,
Bat it out.
badminton. Yes, they did have a badminton one. Yeah. So anyway, that's my whole thing about sport.
Don't forget Getter Robo.
Getter Robo.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that
Don't
one
know.
up.
Don't know that.
Don't know that either.
Imperial Mort says the Germans had to continue their UFO development.
That's classified.
That's classified. It says, Christopher Ward says, Sport Billy was syndicated on Sunday mornings on USA Network. That's right. It was on USA Network, but for me it was, I believe it was for me before school because I remember watching it then, but maybe you're right.
Never seen this one.
Yeah, I just looked up Getter Robo. It's not ringing a bell for me, but I'm happy to dig into it. It looks pretty cool.
He's got them wrestling pants on.
Yeah.
Scott Knudsen says, just saying hello and hey Jody, nice to put a face to the name. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, I have a question for all of you guys. So last night we were watching Monty Python's Flying Circus from whenever that was on.
Excellent choice.
I used to watch it all the time as a kid for some weird reason. I have this memory, and I feel like it has to be a real memory, but like I literally cannot find anything on the internet about it, so I feel like I'm losing my mind, and you guys would know if anybody would know. I remember at the beginning of Monty Python, when I used to watch it, that they had a screen that was like words with a British person reading the words that said something about like, for those of you who are easily offended, da 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 da. If you're one of these people, if you're an easily offended person, do us both a favor and don't watch. It like had the words on the screen, and I thought it was very clever and snarky, and I've always thought like it would be great to like use that in the front of some of our videos and stuff like that, but I literally feel like I am completely making that up in my brain because I can't find that phrasing anywhere on the internet. And I remember the last words were something very close to,
It's probably one episode because they did a couple of
really?
those things. They had multiple of
and
things where they
one-off
put something
effects.
on the screen and they read it out like
Okay.
a warning message. So it's probably from one of the episodes, but it does ring a bell to me.
Okay,
They're
so
in
I'm
a
not just
crazy.
making, I
You'll
thought
have to
that was
watch
too.
all of them.
That's fine. We have the
Probably.
box set, but I'm like, I remember him saying, "Do us both a favor and don't watch," and I remember thinking
us
that was
both a
awesome.
favor.
that's
I
I
typical
searched
Monty
it.
Python.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
So-
it may not be one on the box set because like Doctor Who and other things, is some lost content.
Yeah.
No, it's not a recurring thing. They did
They-
a couple of very different
they would
variants, and it's a
bumper it.
one-off thing. So if you want to find it, you probably have to go.
The
for
one I want to go
entire
back and watch is where the guy has the really long name, and every time he's talking to someone,
I'm not
he has
positive
to say
that
it.
it's Monty
yeah,
Python.
we saw that one. That's
John
in, that's in
Flibble
sec-
Flabble
yeah,
McGillicuddy
first season.
Joy-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Peter Venkman says, "Are you sure it was Monty?" I am not 100% positive, but it just feels like Monty Python.
It wasn't
That's what
Friar
my.
Laurie.
That's how it's in my brain, and it was definitely in the late '80s when I was watching it. So it had to be something that was in existence by that point.
It
So
must be a Monty. It's a Monty Python
it
thing.
feels very
It's
Flying
only in the
Circus.
Flying
to me.
Circus,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just got the box set for Monty Python and the Holy Grail on Blu-ray from the UK. It's called the limited edition Norwegian.
Not Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Monty Python's
Oh,
Flying
did I say
Circus.
Holy Grail?
Yes.
Oh crap! Sorry.
It's something completely different.
Monty Python's Flying Circus. Hey, look, I get my words mixed up, but I loved it enough to buy the whole Blu-ray set, and it's a really cool set. But yeah, we were just wondering what Melinda's.
It was literally, I was mad last night.
She did.
I
She got
was-
really upset.
I was really angry because I was like, I am not having the Mandela effect. I swear to God, I didn't make this up.
Thanks
Okay.
for the super chat, Dave.
Thank you for the super chat, Dave. He says, Michael, thanks again on the advice for making my G.I. Joe whale display worthy. And have you had a chance to check out Paint Be Gone?
Yeah, thank you for the tip on Paint Be Gone. When you showed me the results in the photos that you sent me, I was like, whoa, that's really awesome. I am going to check that product out. I don't have a restoration project currently that requires it, so I just haven't jumped on it yet.
Jedi DB says, back in the early 80s, WGN Chicago had a live-action Japanese monster show centered around a family of robots that fought monsters. Does anyone remember this series?
Family of robots that fought monsters.
Like Bionic 6?
Well, Bionic 6 was definitely a family of robots.
Ish. Or cyborgs, anyway.
It sounds like Orbots, yeah.
Is it Orbots?
Could be Mighty
But
Orbots.
he said live action, right?
Oh, live action. I don't
Oh,
know
that's
of a-
right. He did say
I don't know
that.
of a live action show that was all robots.
But it sounds of the time for a Japanese
I
production.
mean, I don't recall the girl on Small Wonder having a larger family of superheroes.
Jody, are you familiar with Grendizer?
Grondizer, yeah, Grondizer. He was in the Godaiken line. It was an animated series. Grondizer.
We didn't get much Japanese shows over until later. The only one we got over were the Americanized versions like Robotech, like Macron 1. We didn't have the original Japanese ones until much later.
Ah, Kids in the Hall. Love Kids in the Hall.
Kids in the Hall was a Japanese show
No,
translated
no.
into English.
Somebody was talking about Kids in the Hall.
It might have made more sense.
I think, I don't know. Anyway, then everyone's talking about Kids in the Hall. So,
Okay. Now, how are we going to tackle talking about Star Blazers, aka the alternate name for Space Battleship Yamato? How do we even distill this down?
isn't that, I'm getting it confused with another one, I think.
Artistically, because I haven't seen this, it looks
This one
pretty
didn't
cool.
make it over.
Yeah, Star Blazers was the English name for the original version of the show that came over in the late 70s, I believe, to American markets. Now, Space Battleship Yamato is a very popular, like Macross, it's a very popular franchise over in Japan, a series. And so they've relaunched it as Space Battleship Yamato 2199 from what I understand, there have been efforts to then adapt it into Star Blazers 2199. I don't know if that ever came out or not, or if it was just a straight subtitle translation of this. But I wanted to get everybody's thoughts in the chat on Star Blazers and Space Battleship Yamato, because it is a very popular series where they're still making prestige model kits and everything else even today.
They have some really nice ship designs.
Yes, very, very much. very
Badre
much
Bally
so.
says Star Blazers is basically the Star Trek of anime.
Wow, that's high praise.
That's very high.
Yeah.
Which Star Trek? Let's.
Does it matter?
Yes, it matters a lot.
That is low.
They have different flavors. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are. Never mind.
Let's not talk about Discovery.
Or Picard.
So while they're
Picard isn't that bad. I actually liked it.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, you're
It's
rumbling
actually
for a
pretty
fight
good.
on that one, I think.
I don't know.
You're
somebody
rumbling.
super chatted us.
Jay Famous, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Do you know an anime called Starvengers? Starvengers. 3 different ships combined to form 3 different giant robots, depending on which ship formed the head." It's kind of crazy.
It sounds similar to Albegus, where it's 3 robots that combine to form one robot that can combine in different combinations. But it's obviously ships turning into robots. I haven't heard of it.
Like modern Voltron?
Did someone ask me about Modern Voltron?
No, he's saying like that.
He says like,
Oh, like Modern Voltron. Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Modern
Oh
Voltron.
wow, double wrap
Right,
for your
big-
protection.
Nice.
Yeah, they
I'm
can.
very
the-
thoughtful. on their
The
part.
Modern Voltron and Voltron Force,
Oh look, it goes like
the
this.
show right before Legendary Defender,
bit
Voltron
different.
Force, they could change the center lion. So there could be
Could change the center line.
the center lion. Yeah, so there could be like
Like,
could be like-
during battle, the center line
Yes.
can unsocket.
they could literally go yellow lion center and then boom, and then he'd have different abilities, and then it'd be green lion center,
Oh,
boom.
they actually yell at, and of course they yell.
Look at
General
that.
Japanese script writing.
Oh, why did that happen?
I don't know, but
Why is that a thing that I just witnessed?
What just
What did
happened?
we miss?
There was like a small portion of that Kit Kat that was loose.
Okay.
It was disturbing.
just-
Never mind.
peeled off.
Never mind.
All right. So, are there any questions in the chat?
Michael's like, back to the teleprompter.
It says Space Battleship Yamato 2202, the sequel to 2199, is good too.
Oh wow, there's already been a sequel.
I would like to see a Spider-Man dub for American release. It says
Yes.
Retro Wrestling
I
Games.
would love that.
Now I do have Spider-Man
Hold up your
subtitles.
energy drink.
I have that as a torrent.
What about
That's
it?
that's
They wanna
worth
see it.
owning. That show's great. Now, everyone's interested in your
blueberry.
energy drinks, man.
BBC version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know why Imperial Mort is yelling that out, but
What
Thanks
if
for the
it's
super chat, Genji Fox. Yamato is more like Star Wars than Star Trek.
Well, I've watched the episodes of the 2199 that I have. I want to try and get the rest of the series.
so
but
which
they're-
one do you think it's more like?
I'd say it's
It's an exact blend of both.
well.
it's everything good about both of
It's
them?
got the action of Star Wars, but it's got the
Are you saying Star Trek is boring?
no, I did not say that.
Quit rumbling.
It
You're
has more
rumbling.
fighters, so if
Yeah.
you look at that part, that we will more Star Wars.
Right, but it's also got the command structure of Star Trek. You know, it's
Yeah.
a battleship in space, much like the Enterprise.
So is it more like Battlestar Galactica?
I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah.
Gaz wants to know, have you seen or heard of Zone Fighter?
Yes, I have heard of
the name.
Zone Fighter, but
It sounds like Spiral Zone.
You've literally just called something back from
We're
the
fighting.
ether. Like I'm Zone Fighter. I haven't heard that name. That's a name I've not heard in a long time. Long time.
Has there
Just
ever
that
been a
kooky guy,
Beast?
old Ben.
Has there ever been a Beast King Go Lion update?
There has not been a Beast King Go Lion update. As a matter of fact,
What do you
Toy Animation sold Go Lion part and
different.
parcel to World Events Productions a few years ago because they were getting tired of the legal wranglings between the two. And so they said, can we just buy Go Lion and Die Rugger outright? So they bought both of them. So World Events Productions owns Go Lion and Die Rugger and, of course, their Voltron properties.
Good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing in the sense that there's not this constant infighting. And again, those two shows weren't terribly successful in Japan from what I've been told. So it's very unlikely that they were ever going to do anything with them. But they did bother with the Sola Chogokin lines for both of those to make an option to display it as Dairugger or Golion. So there's clearly some nostalgia there for it. But even Melinda said recently when she was working with some Japanese co-workers at her job that she mentioned Macross, and they all kind of were like jumped up and were like,
Yeah, we were having an audit from Japan at a job where I was working, and the Japanese like auditors are all there, and they're very serious, but they're super polite because they're Japanese. And so like finally I said something about Macross, and they're like, "Oh, Macross," and I was like, "Yeah," and so then they like perked up, and then the translator's like explaining that I like had watched.
Suddenly the translator's
and
very busy.
then they're laughing, and it's like everyone was like, "Thank you."
But then when you mentioned Golion, they didn't know.
No, well they were just like, "Oh yeah."
So they recognized it?
I think they did. Yeah.
Oh, it was Southern Cross they didn't recognize.
Southern Cross, they
Yeah,
didn't
I was doing the Robotech Part 2 at the time. And so she mentioned Southern Cross to them, and they were like, I don't know what that is. So it was that unpopular.
So Genshi Fox, thank you again for the additional super chat. JFamous13 says, anybody know the origins of the Christian anime like Superbook? I have seen Superbook. I remember it was about. He says it's about a talking Bible. Do you remember that? I remember.
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
seeing it. The animation was actually really solid.
I remember Superbook, but we watched it in school.
Betray Bob has a nice question.
Yeah, Beta Ray Bob says, what about Battle of the Planets that was a Gatchaman in Japan?
Do you have any thoughts on that, Jody?
Isn't there some... Didn't you make a video out of that or somebody else? There's apparently a whole complex origin with Gatchaman and Battle of the Planets. And
I didn't
follow-ups.
make the video, but whoever's been able to
Flying
untangle
House.
that.
Well,
It's...
there's like 4 versions.
I remember that
Yeah,
too.
I do
it's
too, yeah.
apparently a really complex story behind her.
Yeah, there's.
I think it's even more complex than Macross.
I imagine so, because it's Gatchaman, G-Force, Battle of the
Yep.
Planets, and there might even be a fourth title that I'm not remembering.
Yeah.
And then the toys for that are very strange because I've seen pictures of them, but they were never sold here to my knowledge. If they were sold in other countries, maybe. I'm not sure.
If there's a version of that ship, I gotta have it.
Oh, the Gatchaman ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genshi Fox wants to point out that Yamato came before SBG and Star Wars.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah, absolutely. The chronology can't be
He
argued
means
with.
BSG, not SPG.
The other one that somebody has pointed out several times is the Flying House, which is another.
Oh, yeah,
Christian
I remember
anime.
that. I remember the Flying House. Yep, I remember that.
Does anyone remember the show Calliope, which I think was is it French?
Probably.
For some reason, I think it like. Anyway,
Yes, and I think they
it's
dubbed it.
it's dubbed, but yeah, it was about it had a house at the beginning, and then anyway.
Now, we had a request at the beginning of the live stream to make sure that Transformers was represented. So we have a Transformer here on the table. Now, here's the deal. Diaclone and Microchange did not have cartoons, but we do recognize that
Of course, Transformers had a
Transformers got a cartoon after they combined the
Whoa.
two together and put them under a banner brand. But yes, there was a Japanese-centric Transformers show called The Headmasters, which came later. But it was based on the Transformers.
It's actually supposed to be a follow-up on the original G1 cartoon. But there's kind of a mix-up, because in the original G1, you have Headmasters, 3 episodes, the last 3 episodes. And you have the Japanese Headmasters. And apparently the Japanese never got the script of the G1 cartoon Headmasters. So there's a complete disconnect.
Wow.
There's actually one of those shows which is, with every time they put on the heads and put off the heads, says, head on, head off. They actually have this funny thing where you have multiple headmasters, and they can actually cross over the different heads, and the power bars increase to
Oh,
get
really?
more power. Cross, head on.
So,
Optimus Prime back differently and then killed him again.
so if there were only 3 episodes
be
of,
better.
of Headmasters in the original G1,
Yep.
and then they moved on, the Japanese made their own show, which do you consider in continuity?
Continuity for me is predominantly G1,
Okay.
not the Headmaster.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
CM Shazam, thank you so much for the very
Wow.
generous super chat. He says, this is a thank you for canon is overrated. the most succinct expression of the way I and many fans feel.
Thank you.
Finally, how important was original Star Blazers as first-time experience with a more adult toy line? Storyline, sorry. What did I say?
Well,
Toy line.
here's the thing for me is that
hard to read.
I'm sure for the kids that were able to find the toys, if there were any in the U.S. market, and I don't know what market you're talking to us from, but to my knowledge, there weren't Star Blazers toys when I was a child. Now, it certainly would have been, a game changer for me as a kid to have seen a show that mature that had toys, but I never encountered the toys for it.
I
Scott,
don't think they ever made it. I know there's some aftermarket, like Yamato ones, because my friend is a big Yamato fan, so I tried to find him some models. Some cool models. I've never ran into Star Blazer toys.
Interesting.
Scott, thank you for the super chat. He says, I saw a cool trailer for a live-action Gatchaman movie a few years back. Does anyone know if that actually got made, or was it just a cruel hoax?
I saw that trailer as well. I was under the impression that it was a real movie, but I wasn't. I need to go back and look. It could have just been like something that people did for fun, kind of like the recent Dundee trailer that wasn't really a movie. It was just an ad for Australian tourism. So, and everybody was like, oh, that should have been a movie. Maybe it was something like that. I would have thought it would have been a real movie.
You know what I think, and I think this happens a lot more than we'd like to admit. I think sometimes there's a director who has a good production team, and they have a really good idea, and they'll actually, in their production house, produce just a few minutes of what they propose, like a sizzle reel, and it's never supposed to see the light of day, and sometimes I think that gets out.
Right.
But you also have the fan-made ones, and some of these fan-made ones look so professional.
Yeah,
with
They could be a
with
fan-made
After
one.
Effects and Premiere being in everybody's hands, I mean, we're starting to see, like you say, the fans are doing the best work. We're starting
yeah.
to see that really come
Yep,
into
that's
fruition.
true. That's true. And thank you, by the way, for the kind words about the Canon is overrated video. Appreciate that.
Robert Pearson, thank you for the super chat, £5. Do you remember Starfleet? It had a giant fighting robot made of parts under a spaceship, a puppet show a bit like Thunderbirds and Terrahawks.
Wow.
I've never heard of that. Have you?
I've heard it. I've not seen it. It's actually, it's a live. Yeah, it's like Thunderbirds. I think it's a Gary Anderson production. I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. But
Okay.
I know
I've
it's
never
out there.
heard of it.
I've
Interesting.
heard it's pretty good.
Yeah, Jody has actually been heavily suggesting and, dare I say, coercing me to start doing a Thunderbirds retrospective, which I am studying right now. I am doing my homework. So if we go down that road, I would love to find out more about that show. Absolutely.
Genshi Fox, another super chat, thank you. He says, Michael, after your Robotuck retrospective is done, will you do a Yamato Star Blazers retro?
Yeah, I'm totally open to talking about Yamato and Star Blazers. Absolutely, I am. Yes.
Apparently, I just remember tons of USA Network shows. People are pointing out that Eugene Francis from Dead End Kids, East Side Kids, and Bowery Boys films voiced Gene in the USA Network version of Calliope. So, I don't know. Interesting. Has anyone seen Starzinger Space Cateers?
No, I haven't seen that.
You guys know some really obscure stuff out there. Good for you. This person says, we had a ton of Japanese stuff here in Europe in the 80s, much more than the US stuff. I'm sure that's true. Whoa. Two things all at once. Okay. Christopher Ward, thank you for the super chat. He says, remember SB models, but not toys in Northeast U.S. Own a die-cast Argo and have seen pictures of a die-cast Andromeda on its box.
Okay. Okay, so there were model kits then when Star Blazers was out. Interesting.
This is diecast, so.
Yeah, wow.
Midnight's Edge, thanks for the super chat. They say, have you seen the movie Motu Classics yet? I haven't cracked them open yet. Hope to soon. They look great.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Midnight's Edge. It's always good to see you here on the live stream. I love your channel, and loved the last few videos that you did. I saw the figures on Pixel Dan's reviews. I haven't seen them out in the wild or anything like that. I don't even know if they're available out, but I have seen Pixel Dan's reviews of them, and they look very, very detailed. At my first impression when I saw the images that Dan had put out there I was like, did they get Dolph Lundgren's likeness rights or not? Because I couldn't tell if it actually looked like
Those
Dolph
the
Lundgren.
super articulated ones? With very ugly head sculpts.
Yeah, they don't. It didn't quite look like Dolph Lundgren to me. It was like, you know, but you could tell that it was the movie costume and everything like that.
Was there ever a Micronauts TV show?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Only commercials.
Yeah. And speaking of Micronauts and things like that, you know, Machine Robo.
Well, the thing is with Japanese transforming robots sell without storylines anyways.
Right.
That's why a lot of these toys never got popular in the US, because in the US you kind of need a storyline behind it to actually make it attractive.
Yeah.
Japanese buy any robots anyways. So
Right.
Anthony says, do the Bionic 6 video before doing Star Blazers.
Thank you.
I will do the Bionic 6 video. And
He
even though-
earlier, just at lunch, for you guys to know, said that this year is the year he's going to do the Bionic 6 video. So
Don't blame it.
And you have an additional witness.
it remains to be seen.
I don't know. There's not a lot of time left this year.
I know.
I mean, I don't want
Wow. Wow.
I just don't want you to feel pressure. That's all.
Jay
Thanks.
Famous, thank you for the super chat. He says, when I first saw British Thunderbirds, I wondered why it wasn't connected to the anime Thunderbirds 2081. 9-year-old me, those aren't Thunderbirds.
He got it the wrong way around.
Huh?
He first saw the cartoons and...
Ah, okay.
Good point, mate. Good point.
Um,
And thanks for the super chat.
Marius says, waiting for that Do You Remember Love video.
Now, wait a second. Like I said,
Isn't that the one where, like, Menmei is, like, not as annoying?
yeah, it's also the one
I
where...
Why do we have
immediately-
to ask that
I
question?
immediately don't like that concept.
It's also the
because
one where Myriad never gets with Max and she dies in the end.
I don't like
and-
that.
Spoiler.
Spoilers.
I mean,
Spoiler for a 40-year-old film, like...
this is the internet.
Do you remember
Welcome.
Love? Do you remember Love
remember
is
the
going to
internet?
have its own
I do.
standalone retrospective because it is not tied to Robotech in any way. So it is going to be its own thing. It'll probably be the thing that kicks me down the rabbit hole of all the Macross follow-ups. You know, that'll be like the gateway to all those videos. So, yeah.
We'll miss
And
you.
that's a B-side.
Yeah, I'll turn into a Macross channel. Have you seen that American that does nothing but Macross? It's crazy.
We won't let that happen.
Really, the only good one is like the first Macross series, in my opinion. Like the rest of it is just not.
Well, I haven't
Something
seen any of the other stuff except Do You Remember Love?
Well, I mean the stuff that we all call Robotech.
Oh, well, Robotech,
like,
yeah.
I don't like any of that stuff. Sorry, I don't even like the American Robotech. It's okay.
You
but
mean
like,
the American Macross?
Yeah, the American Macross.
Wait, what's happening now?
You know what I'm trying to say. The
Right.
first original series that got translated and dubbed into the American language,
Right.
like, and I say American because it's not British, it's freaking American, and it just doesn't work as well as the Japanese. Like the voice actors are just nowhere near as good, and they always, for some reason,
They changed
have
some
that really
names.
like, "Hi, Biff!" Like they all sound like way too happy, and it's like, why? I don't
Right.
under- like
Too
the-
glib.
the Japanese, like the voice actors, even though I don't understand what they're saying in the subtitles, it's just like they convey so much more. I don't know, something.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Machine Robo, which is next to the Transformer here. This was an odd situation where you had the toys first, and they were turned into GoBots in the United States. And in 1984, Hanna-Barbera animated a show, and the Japanese were like, the animation isn't
don't
up to
wanna
our
read that.
standards. And so in 87, I believe it was, they animated Machine Robo Revenge of Kronos. And that became their adaptation of the original Machine Robo toys. I've watched this series a few times. It has a very off to the left kind of story element where you have human-robot hybrid life forms that live on the planet alongside the actual GoBots, as we call them. And they're like the one guy, the main character, he's this sort of like lone warrior Ronin type dude, and he turns into a giant robot, and then he gets into an even bigger giant robot, and he does all the stuff that Jody doesn't like, where he yells the words of power and turns into the next dude. And it's a very strange series, and I do plan to talk about it when I do the GoBots feature as well. But there's a lot to dig into, and that's going to be even weirder because unlike talking about Macross versus Robotech or Go Lion versus Voltron, here I'm going to have to watch two completely different shows and talk about them at the same time.
Okay, so I have a whole bunch of things.
Okay, whole bunch of things.
Number one, Milia doesn't die in Macross. She reappears in Macross 7 as Mayor as Macross 7 or something like
Do
that.
you remember Love?
No, they're saying Genshi Fox jumps in and says absolutely false. Milia 639 does not die in DYRL fake news.
Well, I have only seen Do You Remember Love, and as far as I know, from the only seeing that, she be dead. So
Michael, maybe there's a reason to preserve some of the surprises 40 years later in this cartoon.
well, the spoiler is that she's still alive.
But it's been 40 years. You should have known that.
I'm not mad about it. I don't care.
I'm just people are saying it. So Master Son 42, thank you very much for the super chat, Michael. And I'm just reading this, you guys. Michael, it is your Black Captain America here. I second on the Bionic 6. Quit wasting time or I will take away your Chrome Conquest.
Your Chrome Conquest, Michael. It's on the line.
That is
And now I'm going to duck out.
that is my friend Clemens.
I'm a head out.
And you're not wrong, okay?
I'm a fan of Clemens.
You're not wrong.
Imperial Mode, I agree. Macross Delta is actually pretty good. Although there's typical Macross, a lot of singing in it.
Just
It was very much
so
about
much.
Gorgeous
music.
fighters, though. Really gorgeous
She
fairy
be
tech
dead.
fighters.
I gotta go walk off this Bionic 6 thing.
Michael got up, drink.
Somebody, Man of Action says, do you remember Love? She dies.
Well, there we go.
And
That's
then
the subtitle.
Night of Ren says, she be dead, ha 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 ha.
That's what you should call the video when you put it out.
And then DYL, I don't know how to say that. Is that Dill?
Where do you see it? Sorry.
It says,
Okay,
Telemarin.
Dilkay, Telemarin.
Desert Mauve, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, thoroughly appreciated your Fandom Menace vid. So he's giving a thumbs up while he's eating his candy bar over behind the camera.
He's kind of like having that Narcos moment to
He's
himself. where he
basically
stares off
he's
into
having a
space.
candy bar instead of having a drink, I guess.
Eat your cookie, Michael.
I think he's changing clothes.
Question for Jody, what do you collect?
What do I collect? Way too effing much. But my core passion is Transformers. And it's...
You shared some of those photos.
I
You
shared
got
some
a
of the
really
photos.
nice
It's
collection.
predominantly G1 related, so I don't even... I try to limit going beyond the movie, so the first 2 seasons. But a lot of third parties, masterpieces. A couple of years ago, I found this YouTube channel. And
Whoops.
made me relive my childhood. And every time I see a certain YouTube video,
We've all been there, Jody.
watch the cartoon and I start collecting the toys. So, don't have quite the collection that Michael has. He has a lot of stuff I don't have, but I also have some stuff that Michael doesn't have.
That is true. Jody has some really, really nice pieces from what he's told me.
Yep.
Jay, thank you again for the super chat. He says, Star Blazers is my favorite show of all time. It predates BSG and invented many of the tropes. Very similar premise. It also had a holodeck before TNG.
Nice.
Ooh, interesting.
Very cool. Are those Dutch Kit Kats berry flavored? Well, so to answer your question,
Yeah, we've been kind of burying the lead. We've already even
Burying.
We've been burying the lead, Jen.
pun jokes. They're kind of not really
No,
berry.
It's a new kind of cocoa bean they found like a couple of years ago. It's called red cocoa beans. Or ruby cocoa beans.
cocoa bean.
So it's
So
from those beans. It's not just artificially flavored or colored. It's just they're
It
red.
doesn't have a strong flavor.
No.
It's almost more similar though to like a white chocolate as opposed to
I got
traditional chocolate.
I got a really strong cheesecake vibe when
Yeah,
I was eating
it has like
Yeah.
a cheesecake
Yeah.
flavor-ish.
Michael, have you had one?
I haven't, no.
There's Michael's new Kylie shirt. Do you want to tell the story about your Kylie shirt?
Oh, that's
One and only
awesome,
version?
dude.
Yeah,
That's-
so
This is turning into a thing.
So somebody said a few live streams ago that they were disappointed that I didn't wear a Kylie shirt during one of the live streams. And so I was like, all right. So I just started wearing Kylie shirts during the live streams.
Every single time.
Every single time. It's like a thing now.
He does have a whole bunch of them.
So there was an artist that just so happened to post a digital painting of Kylie in the original Luke Skywalker garb with the blue Graflex lightsaber. And I was like, that's awesome. And so I said, are you going to make prints of that or T-shirts or whatever? And they put it up on their Redbubble, and I immediately jumped on it. I got 2 T-shirts and a print that I'm getting framed for the studio. And then immediately Disney got mad and they told him to take it off of Redbubble. So I may have the only copies of this image in the world at this point, aside from the artist. But yeah, it's Kylie as
It's very
Jedi.
well done.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, that's I just want to take a second and Edge of Sanity. If you love great music, Dan Swano, thumbs up, dude. That dude is awesome. He's been in a ton of great bands, Pandemonium, all kinds of cool stuff. And I follow him on social media, and his merch store just made it so that you can actually just special order, kind of like a Redbubble style thing where you can order whatever out of print album cover on a T-shirt thing you want. It's the most amazing thing. I can't wait to get some Pandemonium T-shirts and stuff, so I'll be wearing that while Michael's wearing his Kylie shirt. So super excited about that.
It took me about an hour before I realized you're wearing a Doctor Who shirt. I thought you were just wearing a Hard Rock shirt, and it turns out it says Hard Rock Gallifrey.
I actually specifically wore this for you today, and you are actually the first one that actually gets this shirt. So what Michael's talking about, it says Hard Rock Cafe Gallifrey.
Yeah.
And it
I
rhymes.
hope that
It's a Time Lord planet. It's got the whole
It is
cityscape and
Gallifrey.
everything. Yeah, I looked over and I was like, holy crap.
How are
That's
things?
awesome.
How are things going there right now? Oh.
As far as the New Testament release, I haven't listened to it yet, but I got your message and I am going to check it out. So, there's a New Testament album.
And I'm wearing clothes.
Good job. Michael, when you lived in England, did you get as far north as Hadrian's Wall and the castles of Northumberland?
I got all the way to Edinburgh, Scotland. I did not stop at Hadrian's Wall.
Did you go beyond the pale?
I've never gotten beyond the pale. Look at me. Right?
Good
Jody
answer.
understands my pain. But yeah, I would love to actually go to Hadrian's Wall at some point and just, explore it.
Someone earlier, Jody, asked you how you feel about rock lords.
the rocks that turn into a robot. No, I've seen a couple of the Gobos. I've never seen the Rock Lords. I know they exist. I'm very confused about why they exist.
Right. They're in Machine Robo's animated series.
That said, Michael now has an extra one.
I do. We have Sapphire, the
And
female Gobot or Rock
I
Lord.
got a little surprise in one of those boxes, Rock Lord related.
Oh, that's
Cool.
right. We have donations to open at some point, and I know
Okay.
we're getting close
We
to
should
the
probably
hour.
get to those, man.
Yeah, okay.
Imperial Mort says the cafe on Gallifrey has been destroyed.
Yeah, I realized that halfway through my statement. That was very insensitive of me. I'm very sorry to all the
Master
Gala
Sun
fans.
says, also Michael CD again, how about Spiral Zone? It was based on Japanese toys, very dark for America. It was a cartoon that was not very well known.
Spiral Zone?
So
Yep,
we did
Spiral
we
Zone.
did a whole podcast on
It's
Spiral
one of the
Zone.
early ones, for
It was
sure.
one of our first I think it was our second podcast. It was
Have I
about-
posted it to YouTube? Okay,
but
well,
it's,
what I'll
it's
do...
super old, but yeah, we Aaron and I watched the first. No, it wasn't the first episode. It was a random episode of Spiral Zone,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that
And
was,
it was a trip. I mean, it was
was-
very interesting.
I will make sure that the Dreamland episode of Spiral Zone goes up on the YouTube channel very soon so that anybody who hasn't heard it, and also check out the Dreamland podcast on iTunes, Spotify, because they've already talked about Spiral Zone, but I'm going to be doing a retrospective on it. But the problem with that is, once again, the toys, which were brought over from Japan, are very, very rare.
They
and they're
are
very
very rare.
expensive. It might just be that I do a retrospective on the show, and then maybe one day, if I get lucky, I'll talk about the
That's
toys.
why we did it on the podcast, is because
Yeah.
the toys are just almost impossible to
Right.
afford. So just to clarify, a lot of people make this comment that's about me having an issue with Michael's Kylie obsession. I 100% have no problem with Michael's Kylie obsession because, you know, it's a thing that he got really into when he was in England, and, you know...
I can say this just as being one of his guy friends for a while, it's kind of a wholesome obsession.
It's really, it's not like he has
not
like
Pamela
scantily
Anderson
clad
kinda...
images of Kylie everywhere. I think he genuinely, I know he literally enjoys listening to her music. And I mean, honestly, even if he was really into her and had like bikini pictures of her on the wall, I just don't care about that kind of thing. So, like, whatever. I mean, the type of like person that I would have on I would have like a giant thing of like Spike from Buffy on my wall. So, I mean, you know, everybody's got their thing, right?
Kylie's like the older sister I never had who's super talented to me, and I just really love her music, and it's a nostalgia kick. I just really enjoy hearing her voice. It takes me back. And so I've followed her career my whole life. It's just a thing.
Michael Johnson says, like a phosphorescent rock lord, that would have been cool. That would have been cool, actually.
Oh, like a glow-in-the-dark rock lord?
Glow-in-the-dark? Oh, man, that would be awesome.
That'd have been neat.
So AL says, I've been binge listening to your podcast, and I'm trying to get my hubby into it now. Good luck with that. We're actually recording our next podcast because we've it's been a while.
Yeah, we've been, like, things have just been like that for about a year now.
Yeah, so we're going to get back into the groove. But we've got a really cool, another Australian one.
We're still on the
Australia thing. I almost feel like I just want to do Australian stuff for a while. But we're doing Dot and the Kangaroo. So for those of you out there who remember that, Aaron and I will be talking about that. So there you go.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to open comes from Greg Corp. Thank you, Greg, for the donation.
And just be mindful of the names and addresses on the top of these boxes.
Yes.
There is no address on this box whatsoever.
You don't want to accidentally dox anybody.
These.
Right.
Matt says, Michael is very lucky to have you, Melinda.
Yeah,
I get that joke.
Yeah, no, like I said, I actually do.
Jody, now you get to experience Michael using a knife and cutting towards you.
You know what, guys?
Just saying, it's a whole thing.
Where's your big box cutter?
That's you want me to grab it? It's over there.
Where's your tiny box cutter?
It's in my pocket.
You want me to start prepping now?
Sure, go ahead.
Hey, well, it's got some chocolate on it. It's just a little dry blood on it. Nothing to worry about.
What is this?
What is that?
It's it.
It's
What is
foldable.
it? Wouldn't it be funny if
It's
somebody
a-
sent us something really inappropriate one day? Don't do it.
Oh,
Well, you know, that's the kind of question you don't ask on a live stream.
Sorry.
okay.
Here's a particle.
A particle.
Particle.
All right,
Particle
so this.
man,
Okay, so I made a
particle man.
mistake.
Doing the things a particle can.
So this isn't a donation. This is a seller on eBay sent me the box for a thing that I bought, and he crammed the box for it into a tiny box.
So, thanks.
So this
Hey,
is.
let's share the pain of what that feels
This would have been the box for my radio-controlled K9 from Doctor Who.
So
like.
from us to
man.
you,
Hey, you want the box?
thanks.
Here's your stinking box. Hey, Michael, real
yeah.
quick. Master Son, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, I have all the Spiral Zone figures. I will let Michael borrow them for a review if he wants.
The thing about that is only the fact that when things are that rare, I get real nervous. Like, somebody wanted to send me their Eternia one time to borrow to do a review, and I said I can't put that playset at risk because if anything were to happen to it in transit in either direction, it could just, be bad.
Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah,
insure
He
the heck out of it.
he borrowed Bionic 6 like 6 years ago, and we still.
Yeah, we love They Might Be Giants, so yeah.
So Michael, I noticed when Melinda was prepping for the last Dragon Con, when she gets pictures, there's a lot of issue with where you source those pictures. So in a situation like that with like the Eternia or something else, would it be valuable just to get good quality pictures?
Yeah, I think
Or
so.
would that still not rise to being able to make a video out of it?
I think for something extremely rare, that's like black hole figures, for example.
But you know
Yeah.
what, Master Son? Go ahead and send us an email or a Facebook chat or something like that, and we'll talk. We'll talk
But
about it.
Melinda,
Talk
me
amongst
and you have
yourselves.
not given up on having an Eternia.
No, we are. Tim and I are gunning for the Eternia. So yeah, Midnight's Edge. Love They Might Be Giants. Like, Spider, we love you, Spider. But anyway, and then, yeah, we also had a Faith No More reference right there. It was kind of like a cool moment right there.
All right, so we have a letter here.
Casey Kasem right here today.
Says, hope this, Michael and Melinda, I hope this note finds you both safe and well. Firstly, I must apologize for the kit bashing I had to do on your parcel, but it was the only way I could make these fit securely. I watched the video the other day about the Centauran experiment and saw the toys of the Fourth Doctor, Sarah Jane, and the TARDIS, and then watched the foil wrap potato. I also happen to live 5 minutes away from a B&M where I used to work. I couldn't let that lie. As a fellow Whovian and character options collector, I'm sending you these as a thank you for what you and Melinda have done. Your videos played a huge part in helping me control the PTSD I suffered with last year. I left the armed forces in 2015 after serving 23 and a half years, but I started losing control, adjusting to civilian life, and triggered the PTSD. But with a combination of therapy and watching you both yourselves at RetroBlasting, I eventually managed to lock it away. You can never fully get rid of PTSD, but you can control it. Thank you to all at RetroBlasting from the bottom of my heart, and continue to make great videos which are helping people all over the world. Yours, Carl. The second parcel was the last one left. They needed a good home. Or was it the first? Wow. Okay, so...
Thank you for
That's the grandma.
Oh, like this? Okay, thanks. Anybody
It's,
want to... We don't want to cut this because I think there might be a box here. Here, I'll tell you what. One.
just rip it.
Okay.
I can just sort of very carefully.
Okay.
I'm not gonna hurt you, I swear.
as someone with children in the military.
Yes. As someone with a father in the military who deals with that too, I can sympathize with that. Today on RetroBlasting, people opening things.
Oh wow. These are the new figure sets for Doctor Who.
What?
That's super wrapped.
I thank you for super wrapping for sure. 'Cause
Yes.
these boxes look brand new.
They look indeed brand new.
Matt Movies.
is from-
Matt Movies. Thank you very much for the super chat. He says, I just wanted to say, always love RetroBlasting live streams. Thanks for that, Matt.
Yeah, these are the new Doctor Who 3-packs. This is from, the first one's from Silver Nemesis, and this one is the one, it's the one with the Sontarans and Harry Sullivan from the Sontaran
So are
experiment.
you going to get up and show it to the... Okay.
Potential energy. It's a
Oh,
So,
you want the big one first?
Michael.
Looking for your email one.
Chris Canmore, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, so happy I was able to catch a live stream. I love the knowledge that the whole panel provides. The Flying House had the most catchy starting intro song. That's why this show rocks, hearing Flying House and other obscure shows.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for the super chat.
Yeah, now I actually want to go back and rewatch that because I haven't seen that since I was a
It came
kid.
up in just like a PM conversation we were having a couple months ago, didn't it?
Did it?
Not the Flying House, but the other.
The super book?
Yeah.
Yeah, that did, yeah.
Because I said
I
some
forgot
other
about the Flying
animation
House, though.
looked like they shared animators.
Yeah, you did mention that.
So this came from Jamie, this donation. Oh, and it's Dazzler from the X-Men new retro series. Thank you so much.
One by one, you're putting the team together, man.
That's right. All right. Now, these next three,
Michael Johnson asked, do you have any of the 3 3/4-inch Doctor Who figures?
I have a few Dapol Doctor Who figures. Yes, not many, but I have a few. I have Ace, 7th Doctor, Tom Baker. I think I have a Cyberman. I have a Broken Dalek. Not many, but I have a few.
Okay.
Now, the next three parcels here were supposed to be here during the last live stream, according to the person that donated them. And then I think it's kismet. I think it's serendipity because that person who sent them all the way from Europe happens to be sitting here now as these get opened. So, ha ha ha. They were waiting for you before.
You're back.
Oh, no way. Check it out. It's the new action figures from Macross, the new
wow.
Robotech.
Wow.
Holy crap, look at that.
Look at that little
It's
dude.
Bretai.
Look at the
Oh, it
little...
even comes in little
That's
mini figures.
amazing.
Yeah.
There's a little tiny Rick Hunter.
I saw that. Yeah.
The tiny Rick Hunter is
I wonder if
like
that
my
means
favorite
Dulza and
part of it.
Exeter
Let me
come
just hold
with
it.
It looks
tiny,
like
It
Spock
comes in
about
a
to
seed,
go
so
into the
you can fit
orifice.
in a fighter somewhere.
right?
You know?
yeah, that was pretty unfortunate.
Oh, you want the envelope next? This is a lot easier when the person is here. They're like this one, then that one. All right. So, do I even need to read this? Do you want me to read it? Okay, I won't read it then.
It's basically the note says, I found this on eBay while searching for something else, and it's something fuzzy, and I was like, how does this belong to this series? Is this real? So I googled it, and it is real.
Okay.
Oh, this is actually the other one. This is fine now. This is actually one I was going through the studio video, and actually have a lot of the
Oh,
cassettes,
wow.
but you didn't have Red Bat yet. So this is Red Bat.
Holy crap! I've heard of Rat Bat, but
Could you do me a favor?
Wow, dude.
There's a black backpack behind you. There's one of the pockets is open. There's a plastic baggie in there. Could you grab that for me, please?
Is this
'Cause
glow in the
with
dark?
Red Bats comes something else.
How's that look? I mean,
Someone's asking if this is glow in the dark,
So
and
one
that's
of
a
the
good
pockets is
question.
open. And there's a plastic bag in there.
It does look like it.
Yep,
it looks like it's the right kind of plastic.
Yeah.
Plastic.
It doesn't say that it does.
It does
So-
not.
Which
We'll have
is-
to test it.
with Red Bat.
Okay, turn off the lights.
I
That would
also
take 10 minutes.
got you these two.
oh my gosh. Okay, so let me get these out of the way so that you can see this.
AL says he wants us to do a Moonlighting Taming of the Shrew episode review on our podcast.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll watch
Okay,
more
so-
moonlighting.
Yeah.
We have Rat Bat, which I'm trying
That's
to
funny.
safely transform.
Is he a rat or a bat?
He's a
He's
bat.
Ah,
I guess it goes like that.
dude, that's awesome.
Also the leader in the comics.
Yes, he has actually led the Decepticons in the comics for a while.
He looks
This
like
says-
a.
This
He looks like a
says,
nighthawk.
it says, oh dear,
Or
my
stuff
girlfriend bought me Super Sonico action figures. Should I feel bad?
That's
don't get
a
it.
qualitative, not a quantitative question.
Supersonico action figure. What is Supersonico?
I don't know. I
Oh
don't.
my gosh, these
I
are
don't get-
dinosaurs.
These are Slugfest and Overkill, also Decepticon cassettes.
They're like
Um,
little T-Rexes
I
and
love
stuff.
this.
That
These
is
are
too cool.
original D1s, and for the other two Transformer guys, I actually got
Are you kidding me?
new variations of these
don't
from
even-
a third party. And these are new variations of Slugfest and Overkill. One for you two.
Durden and Barney? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they got funny names. You know that.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
third
because
parties
they're third
actually-
party. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so they're called Durny and Barney.
I wonder if
these
one
are
of
the
them looks
original
like a
G1s.
bar of soap like Fight Club.
Wow.
What is happening?
Set it next to the one right there. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Melinda's
These are
playing-
both the same.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to play with it and not break it because I get in trouble when I
Why
start
don't we
doing
open
these.
one of the new ones? For
Are they the same?
Toy.
Yes.
Are they?
Well, they're the
It's
third party.
I believe these are KFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, open it. Play with it.
Yeah.
And then the final,
And the final thing is the
time for you to play with toys.
fuzzy, weird.
I think I know. I think I know what you've got. Oh no! You know.
Yes! I've always wanted to see one of these in real life, you know, because I came across this during one of our prep for like a Dragon Con thing.
It's a Rock Lords apparently.
It
Yeah.
is. It is
You
a rock
lift
lord.
it up over the box,
Sorry.
or pull the box away.
So,
That is
like
a-
I said, I found that while searching it was dirt cheap, and I was like,
Why not?
let's have a funny topic.
That is for rock lords. Yeah, that is
That
one
is, and it rolls along the
of the.
ground, although it doesn't.
Well, those mechanisms are old.
But like I think as it rolls, it's supposed to like
Yeah, the
move,
jaw opens.
and its tail moves.
A tail moves as well.
So,
That's incredible.
And
so
it's fuzzy.
it feels
And
like it's kind of
pink.
seized up or something.
Well,
but-
we can look at it, figure it out.
Oh, I'll look at it.
I have a feeling this will go in Melinda's office.
I like it.
Sure, why not?
It's a rock
Thank you, Jody. I
gnarly.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
It's
I'm
weird.
rat bat. Holy crap! Because I keep going back every few months and remembering I should search rat bat, and then You know, wow. So I can put him in with the G1s.
This person
Awesome.
says Slugfest and Overkill was one of the best episodes in the 80s cartoon. And when I saw the word Overkill, I just thought, somebody's talking about Overkill? Because I thought you were talking about the band.
They were indeed in one episode.
Uh-huh.
Not
they
the
had some more
band.
attention in like posters and third-party art. I don't know if they ever made it to the comics.
Okay.
I'm not
Now
gonna.
there's some more cassettes, but those
don't
are
know what's
really,
happening.
really great.
Right.
Probably depends on which version of the comics. If you want the Gen 1 comics, I would say no.
Well, this has been awesome.
Great going on the transformation there.
Yeah,
buddy.
thanks. I'm revealing my severe lack of imagination.
Are there any questions or any super chats that we've missed?
It looks like a Tribble Starship Troopers bug. Wow, huge nostalgia waves. I had a Black Rock Lord's Harry thing.
Uh-huh.
That sounds vile. Dill says, I feel like a lot of those smell bad. I assume meaning those things.
Not really.
Do you see how to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm definitely not going to be the one that figures it out. Most people are just going on about Rat-Bat and how great he is.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool mini cassette for sure.
Now you need a little VF1J for Bretai to curb stomp.
Jeez.
I am very curious to see the changes mainly for Marvel Legends. A lot of the others, I can imagine them getting away with the play school style. He may be replying to somebody else above.
Somebody went like, notice me, all caps.
That happens.
How does that smell? Everyone's talking about... It doesn't really smell like anything. I guess we got lucky and got one that doesn't stink.
She didn't die.
My dragon...
That's
This says...
right. It was Slugfest and Overkill were indeed in the episode with the Primitives, the Call of the Primitives.
Nice.
She didn't die.
I
Someone's
guess
still
that's
going
from
on
you
about that.
smelling it.
You know what, guys?
Maybe from me smelling the toy.
Yep.
Oh, well, if they're still referring to Miria, then I'm just going to tell you that when Max is staring at her giant face bleeding out with a blank stare and, you know, she's literally gushing blood from from under her hair and helmet and not moving.
Michael.
It's like an Angel when Fred dies, and it's like really prolonged and very obvious. Like, hey, there's a reference for you.
Michael.
Guess we'll see it in episode 5 of Robotech.
That's right.
Michael.
We'll see the proof, guys. So let's hold the discussion.
Michael.
We'll have proof.
No one's ever really gone.
Oh, my God.
No one's ever really gone.
Had to do it. Sorry.
Well, guys, I guess we're going to wrap up the
Show
live
Rat-Bat
stream.
up close, please.
Oh, someone wants Rat-Bat up close real quick.
Okay.
If there was ever to be a Voltron movie made, which do you guys think would be better? If it's closer to the original Go Lion story or the WEP Voltron version?
I would think it would need to be a combination of the two ideas so that the audience, and I think that's the perfect compromise because the Western audiences that are familiar with Voltron will go to see it, but they'll see new details and they'll have something new that engages them about the story. They won't be watching a live action version of the original Voltron miniseries 1-to-1. They'll be watching it with a kind of new flavor over it. It'll be familiar but new. So I think they need to bring some of the Go Lion ideas into Voltron for the live action version.
The real answer is Michael actually wrote a screenplay for a Voltron movie, if there
That
had
is
been
true.
one, and
Incredible.
it's really, really good.
It is
and
not okay.
I know I'm biased.
It's not available.
But
It's not a fan script. So when I just
It's
to
an
be
actual like.
when I was the social media admin for Voltron, I had the privilege of reading the actual scripts that had been rejected, and so I wrote a script.
It's a mess right now.
I wrote a script as a solution, and that script was enjoyed by the president of the company, and so they sent it to DreamWorks to look at. So it is not a fan script. It was not picked up. DreamWorks decided to go their own way. They didn't want to use it or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But the point is that I did write an official submission for the Voltron live action film. So there you go.
Yep.
Yep.
It was exactly what you said too. It sort of took some of the serious tone from the Japanese Go Lion version, but you definitely would have to have some of the American, more well-known Voltron
Right.
names and tropes and things like that in the.
Right.
This is Aaron's creation,
Don't,
everybody.
don't do this to me. It's a work in progress.
It's
Look,
pretty cool.
it's kind of a meditative experience for me. I don't.
Wow, that's messed up.
I don't.
That's very unfortunate. That is a very unfortunate transformation.
It's.
Oh, we got a super chat.
He's doing great.
Jinshi Fox says, Michael, check your Twitter. I have evidence. LOL, love you guys.
Evidence of what?
I guess that Miria isn't dead.
I believe you. I'm not saying I don't believe you.
He just wants you to yell. So, Mike Ippolito, thank you very much. How's it going, Mike? He says the Voltron script is awesome. DreamWorks needs to put it into productions and quit being a butthead. That
Thanks,
would be
Mike.
that would be
tell
cool.
him. That'll convince
Thanks,
him.
Mike.
You
I
tell him,
appreciate that.
Mike.
Tim Ward said he's been secretly selling your script online for years.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of great things in there that the fans would like, but you wouldn't really have to know that much about the franchise to enjoy it. It's just kind of like that perfect middle ground. But who knows? Who knows what they want to do? But so yeah.
Yep. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the super chat. We'll be back 2 Saturdays from now with another live stream. Oh, being on the super
Right
chat.
now, he's more of a
Being
guitar.
on the live stream. Look, this is why I write scripts, because I can't find my words anymore.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you for being on the live stream. Thank you for all the super chats. We'll be back 2 Saturdays from now with another live stream for everybody who's on Patreon. Who's
Oh wait,
been
wait,
here-
wait. Can you like stretch for a second? I'm sorry, Jody.
Okay.
I gotta get something.
It's time to vamp.
Oh,
Nope.
right. Melinda has
I have
Mel-
something to show you all. So
Melinda
don't.
has one more thing to show everybody on the live stream. So please be patient.
Michael, just a heads up.
Okay, we all drink when Michael gets up. What do we do when Melinda gets up?
Eat
You
candy.
undrink. You just right back into the cup. That's awful.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say,
You just have to fill them double.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
it is pretty awesome. I tend to follow instructions, so like going off like in. Honestly, I was just terrified of breaking it right in front of you, so I didn't go too far there. But he does look amazing. I was just gonna tell everybody for the next live stream.
Nice.
I will be leaving on a family vacation that day, so
Okay.
I will not be on the next live stream. It's okay. I just wanted all of you to know that that's where I'll be. for
Jody,
that
can
day.
you come back?
Oh, yes.
Tim, can you work the camera?
Oh, I know. I just
This is Jasper. He wants
Those
to
are
say
great.
hello to everyone. He's very little,
Did you get
and he's new.
Yeah, I actually by
Hello.
accident ordered these duplicate, and I had a rabbit, and I was like, "This is fate."
Grr, I'm a monster.
you know I've got a sound. You know I've got a sound.
Don't let him grab those G1s.
Got a sound.
No, he's good.
No. Keep them.
If he actually sits there, he's coming to every live stream from now on.
You know how big he's gonna get?
I don't care. That's awesome.
It needs to be like that little video that plays at the end of every production. Just him kind of.
That's right.
Knock it off the table. Knock it off the table.
And with that, we shall end the live stream. Thanks everybody for being here. We will see you on the next live stream 2 Saturdays from now. Bye.